Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life. Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about the comparison game. It's something we all deal with, so I think it's always a great reminder once in a while to talk about this. I would not be human if I didn't say that once in a while I compared myself, and that sometimes I have felt envious or jealous of something that someone else ever had. Okay, that is just part of the human experience. But I think there are some ways to circumnavigate some of those feelings, especially if we're able to talk to ourselves in a very, very kind way. So I'm hoping this episode, it will help you. If right now you are feeling like you are not exactly where you wish you were, okay? And guess what? All of us feel that way at some point. I feel that way about certain aspects of my design business. I feel that way about certain aspects and along the way of my design business. And so 100% if you feel that way, it's normal. And so let's normalize it, okay? The second thing I want to do is talk to you about the way you can view those things so that it can become more logical and less emotional. I think we're emotional people. That's part of being human. So you're going to feel some emotions around this. But if you can take a step back and really use your brain to think through some of the things that you're dealing with, I think you're going to be much better about it. Okay. Have you ever been on social media? And let's use Instagram as an example, because I know a lot of us are on Instagram. Have you ever been on Instagram and you're scrolling through and you hit somebody's feed and they've come out maybe with a brand new fabric line? Or maybe you've hit a feed where they've made this really, really beautiful 3D paper craft. Or perhaps you've hit someone who is on the most beautiful vacation you have ever seen. It's just gorgeous, okay? And you start getting these feelings and they're in your heart and you're feeling a little bit like, why can't I do that? Or why didn't I make that? Or the one I hear most often is I feel behind. Like this person has created this fabric line and I should be there and I'm not there yet. And I'm frustrated and I kind of tear myself apart because I'm not there, okay? I think that when those things happen, very often we have actually started talking really negative to ourselves. Notice the language I was using there. We kind of start to beat ourselves up like we should be there for some reason. Like, I don't know what timeline our brain thinks we should be on, but like we think that we should be at that point. Don't know why, okay? Or we feel like, why can't I do this? Like we start questioning our own skill level and what we haven't done. And so like there's all these things happening where we start talking poorly to ourselves. And I would say the number one thing you can do is, first of all, when you see something, to not pass judgment. Now, judgment works a couple of different ways, right? So there's the judgment of feeling like we're not good enough. So we're comparing ourselves and whatever it is we see, we are not good enough. And so we're frustrated and we want to be better, okay? Then there is the judgment the other way, which is we see something and we think, oh, I'm so much better than that, right? I don't generally work with a lot of people who's like, oh, I am so much better than that. We don't really hear that as often. However, I very, very often hear my designers talking about how they're not good enough, or they're not exactly where they thought they would be at this time, or they wish they were X, Y, and Z. Okay. And what I want to say is what we've done is we've made a judgment. And instead of making a judgment, if instead we take a couple of steps back and think logically about the situation, and the first logical thing I think when I see something and I immediately start feeling these like feelings of negative thoughts, feelings of like, I'm not good enough and I wish I had done better and oh my gosh, I wish I had the time to do that. Okay, the moment I start feeling some of those things, I take a couple of steps back and I think, whose timeline am I on? Am I on their timeline or am I on my timeline? Okay. Logically, I'm on my timeline. And these are the things I've already accomplished, and these are the things I have yet to do. I'm going to live a long life, and there are all these things I need to do in it, okay? There's all this time that I have to do, right? Okay, the second thing I do is I stop the negative talk. And instead, I start talking about myself in a more logical way, right? Okay, that is really cool. What are some things I could do to get there? Oh, do I even really want to get there? Like, if someone has something that I wish I could do I even really want to get there? Because when you start really digging in and thinking logically about it, sometimes we'll look at stuff and we're like, oh, that looks amazing. I wish I could. And then you start thinking hard about it. You're like, no, I don't want that. That's not meant for me. That's not for my life. That's not something I actually want. And so sometimes we're envious of things that we don't want. And then furthermore, there's sometimes that we are envious of things that we don't want to do the work for. So maybe we want it, but we're like, there is no way I'm going to spend the time, energy, effort to do that. I think it's fun to look at. And so it's like we have to take a step back and go like, that's not in my plan. That's not what I'm going to do. And so all this comparison is us making judgments about usually a single photo or a single 15-second video about what we should be doing in our lives, which makes absolutely no sense. Which is why if we take a couple steps back and really use our logic, not our heart, but our logic, and kind of pay attention to what the emotions mean, right? Now, it doesn't mean you should push down those emotions or those feelings. Instead, you really need to have some self-awareness. And this is the thing I keep running into over and over again, especially with the comparison thing, is I find that people aren't self-aware about why they're feeling what they're feeling and what they're doing. This is why we have therapists, you guys. Like, a therapist would be completely out of the job if all of us were a little more self-aware about why we feel what we feel. And then we wouldn't have to talk it out and be like, well, maybe I was feeling that way because this, right? Or maybe I was feeling that way because of this, right? You guys, we can do our own little therapy session because it's not a big deal to look at why are we feeling that way? Is it because we really feel like we're behind? Because we feel resentful? Because we felt like someone held us back? Like, why are we actually feeling that way? I think by simply breaking down, the moment I start feeling a little bit of comparison, and I start breaking down why I'm feeling that way, I'm like, wait, Carina, this just it makes no sense to compare myself or make a judgment about this picture I'm seeing. Now, this is all well and good that I'm talking about being logical when we're comparing ourselves. But I really do believe that a lot of that comparison game where we just kind of fill ourselves with negative thoughts and negative feelings, it doesn't do us any good. So that's the second thing I want to talk about. If it's too hard for you to think logically about something, look at the feelings and then take a couple step backs, analyze the feelings and why we feel that way, right? If that feels too hard for you, and it is really, really hard. The second thing is I always want to do the thing that's going to give me the most energy, give me the most positivity, and bring me up in life, okay? This life is short, you guys. I want to live it to its fullest. I want to do the things in my life that's going to be fulfilling to me. It's going to be fulfilling for others. That's what I want to do with my life. And if I find that I start having those feelings that come along with comparing myself, comparing to the design work out there, comparing my shops, comparing how much money I've made in my shops, how many sales I've made, all of those things. If I spend too much time in that, it sucks and drains my energy. Does that serve me? No, it does not. So I am more interested in going ahead and flipping the switch on some of those feelings and saying to myself, Carina, this doesn't make you feel good. It's time to flip this off, get off Instagram, get off Facebook, get off TikTok, whatever you're on, get off Pinterest, because it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel like I'm better. And that doesn't serve me because right now I need to do X, Y, and Z. I need to create all this beautiful design work. I need to hang out with my family. I I need to fill myself up with beautiful creative things so that I can make the most of my career, so that I can be designing the way I want to, right? And if I fill myself up with those feelings of negativity and frustration, they do not help me. Now, for some of you, and I do know a few people who are like this, that negativity pushes them to be better. But I have found that for most designers, that's not the case. I find that the negativity and the feeling of comparison makes us stop working, stop being creative, give us like full on negative, bad thought processes. And so what I have to do is talk myself out of it, tell myself that this is not the energy I want right now. I used to always think that people use the words energy like it was kind of like frou-frou. But now that I'm in that space and I can kind of see, if someone says something negative to me, like you guys, I'm a real human being. People say negative things to me on Instagram. People send me terrible DMs. People send me things that I don't like to see, okay, that are rude and mean. And it's so crazy to me that people do this on the internet. Maybe you have had this happen to you. Maybe someone has said something mean to you. I am here to tell you that kind of stuff, it is poison. It is poison. And it doesn't make you do the work that you were meant to do. The work that's going to be fulfilling, the work that's creative, that's going to get you to the next place. Okay. So I want to encourage you that if you ever start feeling those feelings of comparison, first of all, get off whatever medium is making you feel that way. All right. Any medium, doesn't matter what medium it might be. Okay. And then second of all, I want you to take a logical step back and be like, why do I feel this way? Like, what is making me feel this way? And then third, you're going to correct your energy around it. You're not going to talk mean to yourself. The last person you should be talking mean to is yourself, okay? I want you filled with that positive energy so that you're designing and creating so much beautiful work. You've got this. You have absolutely got this. All right, keep up the amazing work. I'm so happy to have you guys here. If you have not yet, leave us a review if you're on the podcast or subscribe to our channel if you're on our YouTube channel. It helps so much. We are trying to grow these channels so we can get the word out about great design, why great design matters, and how we can help people get to the next level. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you soon. Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.